Hello, and welcome back to our course on extreme programming. In this module, we will discuss adopting XP. Let's start this topic by first discussing the benefits of adopting XP. There are many benefits to adopting XP practices in an organization. Some of the advantages of adopting XP are: prioritizing requirements is faster than getting all implementation details. Frequent incremental delivery allows a team to deliver software faster. XP keeps the system completely integrated and automates tests that verify the code. It makes sure the system always runs and passes all the tests. Everyone working in the same way works together more effectively. The 12 XP practices, which are broadly classified into coding practices, developer practices, and business practices, work well to complement each other, but adopting all the practices together can be difficult. Furthermore, XP doesn't fit well in every situation. Therefore, the key is to understand XP practices and adopt them in stages, introducing XP gradually. To help before you start implementing XP practices, first, gather a team of developers, preferably an experienced team. Next, find a good source control system, that is, coding standards and common vocabulary. Third, get a code repository or code base. Fourth, find a customer to provide feedback from a business and market perspective. And fifth, provide infrastructure that promotes good communication. Preferably, the whole team should be seated together. We will now discuss the various advantages of using test-driven development, or TDD. The practices advocated by XP can be adopted in any order. The following method of implementing XP is simply a recommendation. It becomes increasingly difficult to adopt a new practice midway through a project. Therefore, the existing project's teams should start with test-driven development for adding new features. Using TDD on previously designed features can be counterproductive. This has the following advantages. First, bugs and errors in the code can be fixed at an early stage. This reduces the cost of retrospective testing. Second, because code has to clear tests at an early stage, this prevents bugs from reoccurring at a later stage. Third, not only does TDD offer simple validation of correctness, it also can determine the design. Fourth, although the amount of code written using TDD is more due to the addition of unit and acceptance testing, the total code implementation time is greatly reduced. And fifth, TDD acts as a pointer to a modular, flexible, and extensive code. Next, we will discuss the advantages of adopting continuous integration and the planning game. Using continuous integration and the planning game is the next phase in implementing XP. The features can be converted to story tasks without the presence of a customer, and the estimates are made. The key is to break each task into smaller, easy-to-handle parts. As the smaller the task, the easier it becomes to incorporate the code repository or code base. The advantages of adopting these two practices are: first, it reduces the burden of one big task by breaking it into multiple smaller tasks. Second, smaller, new features added to the repository help solidify the code. Third, the code and the associated changes are available to the whole team across the system. Fourth, continuous integration helps prevent big schedule changes by providing early warnings for incompatible code and conflicting changes. And fifth, instead of trying to predict completion dates, the planning game helps steer the project in the right direction. The above practices are followed by implementing collective code ownership. Collective code ownership requires a commitment from the whole team in order to produce good code. It does not require the whole team to be perfect at coding. Rather, It just requires the whole team to follow a team's style of coding as opposed to their individual styles of coding. Collective code ownership exhibits the following advantages. Code ownership lies with the team rather than an individual. The team is responsible for maintaining the code. Collective code ownership encourages good communication. Shared knowledge helps programmers familiarize themselves with the whole code and therefore benefit from the experience of others. And finally, changes to the system can be made more swiftly because developers do not need to wait for the one person who owns the code to grant permission. We will now have a look at the various advantages of refactoring. The simplicity of the code and coding standards pave the way for refactoring. Because the repository is already available, refactoring is useful for improving the quality of the code. Refactoring has the following advantages. First, identification and removal of duplication. Second, it makes the code easier to maintain because large chunks of code can be broken down and simplified. Third, it provides flexibility to the code. Fourth, it makes it easier to extend the capabilities of the code and make design improvements. And fifth, it removes code noise. Next is pair programming. Though the implementation of pair programming can be seen as directly contributing to reducing team velocity, the implementation of the driver and navigator concept helps reduce lag in work by introducing practices such as simple coding and design and refactoring, which in turn help produce better code with a reduction in the debugging time. In the practice of coding and design, XP suggests use of simple and flexible code that follows the coding standards and is easy to understand, modify, and maintain. This practice forms the basis of all XP practices and finds its application in each practice. This brings us to the end of this module. In the next module, we will discuss XP events. Thank you for learning with us.